Tony, this is one of the newest models, or a new model to the Doosan range, correct?
Correct. This is the new DNM series machine. This is the small machine in the range. This is the 4500.
Now, important to note to start with, this is a 3-axis machine, it said.
This in its current guise is just a 3-axis machine. Obviously we can fit additional axis to a 4 or 5 axis, but as it stands, this comes in as a 3-axis machine tool.
So we talk about it being the new generation. Let's talk about why it's or what is on the new generation machines. Give us something to start with.
I think what I should say, if we go back a little bit really, Doosan's been manufacturing the DNM series machines for about 12 years now, which has been really successful, and there's been 35,000 machines sold and installed worldwide. So from Doosan's point of view, this is the 3rd generation and a massively important machine within their range. So this machine has been redesigned from the ground up, and comes in 3 model sizes. So all the technology that's in it and the improvements that have been made are proving popular in the market.
Okay, without going back to the previous models, what are some of the improvements that people can expect with this type of technology now?
Well, first of all, I should say that this is now a direct drive spindle. So this is a 12,000 RPM, big plus direct drive spindle. What that means is basically less noise, much better acceleration, deceleration, improved torque, cutting performance. So certainly the direct drive spindle has made a massive improvement on the machine tool.
I was going to say you need other areas to be faster as well if it's to keep up with the spindle. So have they made improvements in the speed of the functionality of the machine itself?
Everything, acceleration, deceleration of the axis. Basically what Doosan have done is the actual mass of the machine has increased, but the moving parts have all been redesigned using finite element analysis to be lighter so that the acceleration can be faster. So non-cutting time on this machine is greatly improved over the predecessor models.
Okay, now on this machine as well, what is the size of it and what is the spindle speed? Sort of coming back to basics.
Well, basically, this machine being the smallest in the range is the 4500. So this is what we call a bit of a classic, really, 3/4 metre vertical machining centre. So this has 800mm in the X, it has 450mm in the Y, and 515mm of stroke in the Z. We then go to a metre machine, and we then go to a 1.25 metre machine, and they're all just slightly over the actual nominal size in strokes.
So with this particular model and it being the new generation, is the working envelope bigger than its predecessor?
Correct. So if we go back to the predecessor had 430 in the Y, this is 450. It had 750 in the X, this is now 800. But the key thing is those axes and that larger working envelope is still within the same footprint of the machine. So, that's what Doosan have done basically to make those improvements, because everybody always wants that little bit extra stroke. And each model has had those same sort of similar improvements.
It seems apparent to me by looking at the specification that this machine, well, they haven't looked at cost down in this new generation, have they? They've basically looked at providing a machine that's got all the bells and whistles.
It's performance. It's about performance. And we're in a very competitive market now, and certainly this area where this machine is, cost down. People don't just buy a machine on price. It's about performance. So the machine is heavier, it's faster, it's quicker, it's easier to operate. There's been a lot of work done as far as the control system and easy operator package and conversational programming. So the real focus, if you had to say one word on this, is extra productivity.
Okay, you mentioned earlier about non-cut time. Yeah. I know it sounds straightforward, but just explain where you're going with that to improve productivity.
Well, effectively, the only time that you're making money really is when that spindle's running and when that spindle's cutting material. So effectively, when you're rapid in position, when you're rapid in away from position, when you're tool changing, it's all dead time, and that time is money. So all those times have been reduced, so it's quicker rapid rates and reduced cycle times. And even down to real minor things like, because this is the new Zero IF control system now, this control is linked by a fibre optic cable instead of the old copper type cable, which means the transfer of data, so machine response time is much quicker as well. So when you're rigid tapping, those sort of things, again, much faster, much improved.
So that's how you get the fundamental machine movement much faster. That coupled with the faster spindle or the direct drive spindle you've said, gives you a faster machine.
Well, like I said as well, what they've done is reduce the weight of some of the moving parts, added ribs for strength, which means then you're accelerating a less weight, if you like. So again, that helps to give extra performance as well.
Now, you touched on the control shortly, a minute ago. Tell me about this Doosan FANUC control here. What's the difference between maybe another manufacturer's control?
Well, I suppose firstly what I should say is that the machine is available in 3 control systems, whether it's FANUC, whether it's Siemens, or whether it's Heidenhain. So we stock and we sell all 3. Coming back to this one is that, yes, it's a FANUC control, it's got manual guide, but obviously that is then customizable by the machine tool builder. So what Doosan have done is they've created this easy operator package, which includes things like tool life management, tool load monitoring, adaptive feed rate control, operator assistance, M-code assistance, probing assistance. It's all to make the operation of the machine easy for the operator, and again, to reduce that non-cutting time to get him up and running quicker.
With skill shortages as they are, this assists, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, because you've got full conversational graphical programming built in with this machine tool. We find the operators that come on the courses at Mills like that graphical, like the question and answers, and it gets them up and running quicker.
Okay, maintenance and wear and tear, that's a big factor. You buy a machine today, you've got to know how to maintain it and you want it to last. What have Doosan done here in order to make that better?
Well, 2 things I'd like to touch on that is that one is now this machine is actually lubricated by a new grease lubrication system. So Doosan have done away with normal traditional slideway lubrication, which we all know creates tramp oil. You then put an oil skimmer on, reduces tool wear, and also is very costly to dispose of as well. The new grease lubrication system is basically a cartridge that sits on the back of the machine and is metered, so it delivers the exact amount of grease oil lubrication to the ways. And generally what we're looking at is about 3 cartridges per annum based on a normal sort of shift pattern. So it's a big feature, and it's also cost effective, and it reduces the overall running cost of the machine tool.
So from a machine perspective, does that give you more longevity in its life, machine's life?
Well, it will do, because it's monitored and it's delivering the exact amount of grease as the machine needs it.
And that tramp oil is a big factor as well, because that can actually reduce your tool life by having tramp oil in the machine.
Well, obviously it can do, because cutting tools are designed to work in soluble coolant, and when you start getting the tramp oil in there, it degrades your tool life.
What about through spindle coolant?
Through spindle coolant, standard on the machine, 20 bar through spindle coolant on all the DNM range. Big thing there though is that we've done away with the traditional cartridge style bag media, and we're now on something called a cyclone filter, which via a vortex separates the coolant from the particles. Particles go back to tank, clean coolant comes through the spindle, which again is maintenance free.
For anybody looking at a machining centre, they really need to come here to see this, because I've learned a lot today. This is a lot different, or it's got a lot more to offer than some others, hasn't it?
Well, this is where we score, because we all know, unfortunately the customer has a lot of choices to make when he's buying a machine. And generally when he gets people's brochures, they're all a metre in the X and 500 in the Y. So what makes us different? What makes us different is when a customer comes here and sees the machine, sees the performance, sees the added rigidity, and generally customers that buy a DNM, they then generally come back and buy another one once they see the benefit.
And you have sold these machines into the UK market since its launch, haven't you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, we showed the first machine at MAC, which was the first one into the country, and we've probably sold 20-25 since then.
Good stuff. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much.